Just Add Water really came from my observing that, you know, the one area where people seem to have no problem mixing and integrating was in eating. Living in London and seeing the kind of really flourishing restaurant culture and noticing that lots of different people from different cultural backgrounds all seem to be really enjoying eating different types of food. And the debate about integration, as it kind of rages around us and people have many different opinions about how to make it work, I thought in eating, you know, we have a perfect example of how it is actually already working.
Shobana and I would say came up with the idea of the piece together because we're both very interested in food and about its cultural associations particularly. So it was a piece I was very keen to do without really considering the implications and complexities of making a dance piece about food, which is in a way a very strange idea, and it's going to be a dance piece in which you don't see people cooking. And so then it became something about integration and the difficulties of integration and assimilation and how you take things forward.
But it isn't really about particular recipes, it's really using food as a metaphor to talk about other things. So food's really a tool for discussing our memories, the way we relate to one another, the conflicts that there are there, you know, whenever a person with a particular type of history meets another person with a completely different type of history, then there's bound to be conflict. So food is just a useful way of talking about those places.
Shunti, jeera, uppu, sweet pumpkin curry.
I like sweet pumpkin pie made with real maple syrup because it reminds me of Thanksgiving Day in America.
Sweet pumpkin curry.
Sweet pumpkin pie.
Shobana's past work has been sort of movement-based. You know, we've always created movement, and then it's more comfortable for us. It's like a homeland. You know, this is now a new territory for us as dancers because I think at least most of us aren't actors. And to be able to use your voice in a way that is authentic and you're not trying to act because we're not trained to act. That's the challenge, to find how dance and theatre can come together, but not in a superficial sort of way. So what is the dancer's authentic voice?
Curry.
Sweet pumpkin pie.
One of the challenges of Just Add Water is how to actually deal with two ways of portraying the dancing body. On one hand, because of the text, immediately the dancer takes on a kind of a location and a character. For example, when an actor or an actress starts rehearsing, probably the very first thing they need to know is what character they're playing, and that gives them some background, a history to start exploring their character. A dancer obviously doesn't have to do that. When they come into a studio, they have a much more abstract personality, an abstract role to play, and they don't have to take on a historic character. In Just Add Water, we get to know the dancers at the beginning very much as historical people. We get to know a little bit about themselves, their history, their languages. So you get to know a dancer in a very narrative way that you don't normally do in a pure dance piece. But as the piece progresses, they have to take on their normal role of being a dancer. So it's that shift from narrative to abstract, from sort of specific to general. That's one of the biggest challenges of this piece.
Okay, let's talk about what you're going to pass. I think you passed this one.
Pass that.
I think so, yeah.
As a composer, I have a very, very particular job. In this case, the piece is being made very much through ideas and through the relationship of the choreographer and the dancers. And my input into it is much more complex and ambiguous. So I'm like a cog in the machine, and it's sometimes a bit like writing music for film, in fact, where you're looking at what's already there and responding. The main challenge in this piece, I think, is to become aware of what the music is for in this piece, what it's doing, why it's there. It begins with the preparation of it, and you can hear the sounds of preparation. And then it becomes about adding and stirring, and it gradually becomes more and more abstract. It's actually the music does is simply start off in a very kind of literal way and get more and more and more metaphorical until it kind of disappears into this atomic state at the end.
Add the ginger, add the tamarind, add the turmeric, add the cinnamon, add the ginger, add the tamarind, add the turmeric, add the cinnamon, add the pepper.